NBA, right? Because we got some good ones for you. It finally happened. Kyrie Irving returned to the court last night for the Nets and scored 22 points. Kyrie sparked Brooklyn to a big rally in the second half of his season debut, and Kevin Durant had 39 points. The Nets came back to beat the Indiana Pacers 129-121. A nice moment after the game, Kyrie gave his jersey to his pops. Overall, a very promising return. Here is KD and Kyrie post-game after the win.
It was amazing to have him out there. I mean, I just missed his presence around the locker room, his energy, his vibe around the team. And then on top, I mean, then his game is just so beautiful and, you know, makes the game so much easier for everybody out there. Just the game of basketball is happy to have him back.
I've had a lot of debuts, but nothing comes close to this one. It just it meant a little bit more.
Winner born ready. Uncle Drew wasn't the only one who returned last night. Lance Stephenson had 2 previous stints with the Pacers, and he dropped 30 in his first home game with Indiana after signing a 10-day. He went to work in the first quarter, scoring the final 20 points for the Pacers. The 20 were a record for any Pacers player in the first quarter. It was also the most points in an opening quarter for a player coming off the bench. Strum that dang. Strum that dang, Lance.
Winner, the big 3. The Nets improved to 12-3 in the last 2 seasons. That's including the playoffs with Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and James Harden all playing together. The trio has averaged 73.5 points in their first 15 games together. Only 15, though. That is the 3rd most by a trio of teammates in their first 15 games together over the last 5 decades. So basically, Jordan, what I'm telling you is that the Nets are good when the big 3 play together. Who would have thought? But Kyrie returning last night, and in a big way. Look, the Nets were down a lot of that game. They came back to win it, and a lot was because of Kyrie. But the question I think is like, how much of an impact can he make if they continue on this? He can only play in road game situation.
Well, it's somewhat of a gamble for this Nets squad that drew a hard line in the sand and said, hey, you're either playing, you get vaccinated and you're with us, or you're not. And Kyrie took his stance for his own reasons. Now, the gamble, Shae, is because, look, if this is a guy in Kyrie that can't play ever at home and in the postseason, then you're kind of disrupting chemistry. I know you're ravaged with COVID, so that's what forced you here. But if this is a guy that you're not going to have moving forward, it's disruptive to chemistry because you get used to playing with him. And then at the utmost important time, the postseason, you'll be without him. That messes with chemistry. I believe that the Nets feel like come spring, the mandate will be lifted. They're going to have their guy. And when they have their guy in Kyrie, we saw what all 3 of those guys look like for the Nets with Harden, Durant, and Kyrie Irving. Boston Celtics, that opening series a year ago, they dominated them. Then they lost Harden and they lost Kyrie, and it was only Durant. And yet still, they took the Bucks to 7 games. He spaces the floor. It takes pressure off Durant to do his thing, as well as Harden. You've got shooters abound. This team looks so much different offensively. But will that mandate get lifted in the spring for Kyrie to come play? That is the gamble.
Yeah, I mean, late in the spring, obviously, would be the hope if you're the Brooklyn Nets. The body language from all 3 of these guys and the rest of the teammates was just different last night. They were so excited to have Kyrie back on the floor. And I think the spring is a big situation, but the right now, this is beneficial. First of all, these stars in the NBA, they load manage all the time. They don't have all their superstars out game in and game out during the regular season until it gets to about late spring, May, June, whatever, when the playoffs are on the horizon. What the Nets have ahead of them, Sunday, for example, they have to play in Portland in the afternoon, and then they have to go all the way back home at night, or across country, rather, whatever it is. So they have a coast-to-coast swing in 24-hour time span. To have Kyrie available for one of those games is huge, right? They have to play the Bulls after that. Like, they've got some tough tests ahead of them, and if they can have Kyrie for a fraction of those games, it can only help them right now with load manage, with rest and getting ready for the postseason. So, yeah, it will matter later on, and maybe those mandates are lifted, and that would be beneficial to the Nets. But for right now, hey, this looks like a team that's unstoppable when he's on the floor with them.
Yeah, and it can boost their record, giving them a 1 seed. Even if they don't have him for the postseason, those 21 games can prove important. Speaking of unstoppable, this guy was unstoppable. Dirk Nowitzki, the Dallas Mavs paid homage to Dirk Wednesday night, raising his jersey number 41 to the rafters of the American Airlines Center. Dirk led the Mavs to 12 50-win seasons, franchise leader in almost every category, including games, points, and boards. 14-time All-Star, 12-time All-NBA, led them to a chip in 2011. The guy was the Mavericks for 21 years. In fact, with all these 10-day contracts flying around, Coach Jason Kidd shot his shot.
Quick question. We're giving out 10 days. You want to come back?
Love it. So how about loser, though? You hate to see it. Luka Doncic had 26 points, 8 assists, and 7 rebounds in the Mavs win, but he went down with an ankle injury yet again, grimacing in pain, as you can see there, hobbling off the court. And Luka, man, he just keeps rolling up on those ankles. Hopefully he can get healthy here quickly.
Yeah, you hate to see that. You also hate to see this. Loser in a slump. We just mentioned it, Steph, at 14 points. My guy seems to just be a little off the last 2 games, where he's 8 of 41 from the field, his worst field goal percentage in a 2-game span in his entire career, including the playoffs. He didn't seem too concerned after the game, saying simply, you just got to stick to the program. I'll come around. Hey, we've seen enough Steph, Shae. I think we all believe that one.
Let's go around the association. Kyle Lowry wanted to throw some punches after this play, perhaps, Jordan?
Technical foul?
Question mark? Late in the second quarter of the Heat's 115-109 win over the Blazers, Lowry appeared to simply toss the ball back.
Yeah, come on.
Draws a second tech, though.
He said some nice things to the officials. So.
Clearly. That's why they're blurred out. And then he was ejected from the game.
I hate when officials do that. They take things too personal.
No,
don't
Jimmy
be the story.
Or Lowry in the second half. Let's go to Rockets and Wizards. And Kevin Porter Jr. returned from a suspension. And Jay, what do we say?
It's not MJ, but he's back.
That's right. That step back 3 you just saw was for the win with 0.4 seconds left. And that gave the Rockets a 114-111 victory over the Wizards. Pistons and Hornets is when we go next. And this has got to be the best nickname, perhaps, in all of sports.
That's what I was just going to say. Tsunami Poppy, the lucky lefty. I mean, the hair, the look, the game, it all fits.
So usually, though, when we talk about Kelly Oubre, we're referring to Ubers. Jordan, you used to always say our Kelly Oubre.
Yeah, Jordan the Kelly Oubre.
That's what you used to always say. Pistons 140-111 on Wednesday night. The Hornets, though, got the best of them. 76ers at Magic.
Come
and
on.
Orlando's Cole Anthony, did that.
He did that. He did the logo shot. I mean, the range on Cole Anthony, I got this one wrong. I didn't think his game would translate to the league. He's been a revelation for Orlando.
Yes, he really has. The Sixers win 116-106. Spurs and Celtics here. And Jay, the story was Gregg Popovich last night.
An absolute legend. Call him Mr. 2000 from here moving forward.
That's right, because he became the first coach to 2,000 NBA games with the same team. The Spurs beat the Celtics 99-97. Pop was super sentimental prior to the game.
Tonight is the 2000th regular season game that you've coached. On that list, you're the only one who's done it with one team. Does that mean anything to you?
No.
At all?
It means I'm old. Been in the same place for a long time. Had really good players, blah, 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 you know.
Wait, Pop didn't give good sound?
I was going to say, obviously super sentimental was said in jest. Okay, Jazz and Nuggets. And the reigning MVP did something you rarely see here, Jay.
Elite company, that's what it puts him in. This guy is so underrated, and he's a reigning MVP. He's still underrated.
Unbelievable. Nikola Jokic notched a triple-double, 26 points, 21 boards, 11 assists, and a couple blocks. He joins Luka Doncic and DeMarcus Cousins as the only players with 20, 20, 10, and 2 blocks over the last 15 seasons.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.